We've got our piston here, and I've got some 150 grit sandpaper, and I'm just going to start working it at a 45 to the base, kind of like this. So not up and down, not side to side, but at a 45. Hopefully we can get this thing cleaned up enough. It's pretty rough. And honestly, this might be beyond repair. I'm not sure, because it's kind of deep in there for now. But we're gonna try it. Why not? What's it gonna cost? You know, a little bit of sandpaper and some time. So, all right, let's see if we can maybe ease these rings out of here. Just gonna try to work them around here. It's already starting to come out a little bit, this top one at least, right here where it was really bad. So I'm going to try from this side here, see if we can try to pop that out of there. And again, these are really hard metal, so it's brittle. So it would not surprise me if I broke it, but we're going to try. I might sand a little bit more, because that's either way it needs to come off, because I can see the ring is kind of rough already. And the rings are starting to kind of loosen up a little bit, not a whole lot. I don't want to get too aggressive with them. Oh, and I just broke that one. Like I said, probably was going to break them. Now I just got to pry them out of there. So I'll have to get a new set of rings on order, which again, they're available, they're out there. So this one was just destined to not come out. But we're still going to try to save the piston, and the cylinder for that matter. So let's see if we can get the rest of this ring out. There it goes. Got it. Alright. Well, and we'll clean that up a little bit too. You know, that was way too tight, and there was no way I was going to get those rings off without breaking them. So we'll get some new rings coming. Probably wouldn't hurt it anyways. Go ahead and break that out of there. Yeah, obviously right on the face of that exhaust side is where it's the tightest. Probably where it had the most heat, and that aluminum got hot. There we go. Alright, got the rings out. So I'm going to keep polishing on this thing, and we'll get it cleaned up. The intake side is beautiful. It's perfect. So, I mean, not even like it doesn't even look like it was picking up any fines through the intake or anything, so, which is amazing considering the condition of this. But I'm going to keep polishing on this and get back to you. So I'm just going to try the old sandpaper on a flat surface trick, and I'm just going to hold that down and kind of work this in a circle. Rotating the piston around as I go. I'm mainly concentrating on you know, getting these deep scratches out of there. It's going well, just a little slow. You gotta put a little elbow grease in it. There you go. You can see it's really looking much better. Much better than it was. Now that's really getting close there. Just a little bit more. And I'm sure a piston for this is not that expensive, but you know, in a pinch, can you do it? We're gonna find out. I'm sure you can. I've seen some other guys do it, and I feel pretty confident I can. Obviously the rings broke, so it's a good idea to have a new set of rings handy. I probably could have been a little bit more gentle with them, but I don't know how, really. I mean, they were stuck in there hard, and you could see all the scoring on there. But I'm going to keep working on this like this. This seems to work really well, and get back with you. So I pretty much polished this whole thing with sandpaper. this 150 grit, and that did a really good job. It's got a nice kind of a cross hatch to it after I got done, and then I just buffed everything down with this Scotch-Brite. This is I don't even know what this is. This is maroon colored. So then I took the sandpaper and doubled it up like this, and on the exhaust side especially, the intake side wasn't bad, but the exhaust side, and that's the side with the arrow on it, you'll see, with the S for Stihl and then the arrow. And what I did was I went inside of here like this and just cleaned it up really good, so it was had clearance for the rings again, because remember, those rings were stuck in there bad. And that's how I did that. So I went all the way around that, and then I found one of the old broken ring pieces and cleaned it up really well. Made sure there wasn't any lips on that. In fact, I laid it down and kind of buffed it out a little bit like that, just to kind of clean up any of those rough edges. And then this is the exhaust side again. It's so clean it's kind of hard to even tell anymore, isn't it? I just slid the ring in like that just to make sure I had clearance all the way around. So, and that easily fits in. It's a little tight right there, which it you know, could use a little bit more polishing, but we're going to do that. So I'm going to clean that up a little bit, and then I got to get the new rings in, and when I get all that in, we'll put this thing back together and try to fire it up. So here's that the ring groove cleaned out, and you can see this ring it just fits in there perfect. No slack, doesn't bounce up and down on that top groove. And then here's this bottom groove, and again, this is the broken ring, which worked perfect actually for testing this out. So if I had brand new ring, or if I tried to put these rings back on and it was tight, I would have had problems. But it just fits in there perfect. It doesn't even fall out. You can see it. It just stays in there. It's perfect. And then this side here, the top groove, get it in there, perfect. Stays in there, and you can see it's not round enough to where it would grab. So that's great. I'm happy with that. This skirt is a little thin on this side, but I think we're going to be okay. It's not that thin. You know, and again, a new piston for this is not that much, but I'm going to go ahead and prep the case, and I'll show you that while I got everything going here. Got some gunk on this flywheel here. I'm just going to sand that off real quick and kind of clean that up a little bit. I think somebody was cutting pine with this thing by the looks of the side cover here. It's sticky. I need to put the whole thing in the parts washer or something, but again, just want to see if this thing will run and see what it sounds like when it is running. Might have to gap that coil, because it feels like something's kind of dragging. I don't know. That's a lot better. It was just that gunk on there. That's all it was. Well, no, actually it is hitting. Yeah, I need to gap that coil. So let's go ahead and do that while we got everything apart. That's why it was probably beat up on that poor thing right there, because it was not adjusted properly. And who knows what people do. You know, the guy that I got this from, he might not have messed with it. I don't know. Well, that's not a T27. Oh yeah, it is. Okay. We're just going to gap this coil here. We're just going to slide the flywheel over top of the coil. Go ahead and tighten this down, and tighten down this other one down here. And I might put a little more on there. There we go. Yeah, it was hitting. Isn't that something? Wonder how long it had been doing that. Now that we have the coil with the proper air gap between the flywheel, you can kind of see here. Sounds like it's got a little noise in there, but I think it's going to be okay. It doesn't have any play on the flywheel or the PTO side. I've got both of them pulled off, and I don't feel anything. I don't see anything weird going on. And I'm checking the connecting rod here, and I'm looking for any vertical play with that. That feels tight too, so I mean, it might have a little bit of play right there, but not, I mean, nothing to be concerned about. So yeah, I'm happy with that. I could probably put a little oil in there and quiet those bearings down, but you know, it's going to be running pretty much in this condition when it gets ran. So all right, well, like I said, I'm going to prep this base up here a little bit. This has got some old gasket material and stuff, so I'm going to clean that up. I might even flush the case out a little bit with some cleaner and get that prepped and get ready for putting the top end back on here when those rings come in. Still doing the prep work here. Got this thing cleaned up pretty good. Went ahead and got the cylinder cleaned up too, at least on the base here. Got all the gasket material off. Next up for the cylinder, we can go ahead and do this, is get this exhaust side cleaned up here on this right here where it's kind of scratched up, scored up from the piston. So let's go ahead and get in here and see what we can do to get this cleaned up. My thought process is take some sandpaper like what we have been using. Again, this is the 150, and get in here and kind of work it at an angle and just see how deep this is, and see what we need to do to get those cleaned up. Might start with this one just to kind of see what I need. I'll take a strip of it off, put it around my finger. Kind of working it at a 45, work it back this way. Again, this didn't seem nearly as bad as the piston, but I could be wrong. Looks like we still have some transfer in there. What I might do is try the old muriatic acid trick and put some down in there and see if we can maybe get some of that aluminum out of there. I'm going to try to show the cylinder here for you guys. There we go. That's good, yeah. When I put this acid in here, so here's the bottom, or here's the exhaust side right here on the bottom, and I'm going to try to show what it looks like. See if I can get you in there where you can see it. There we go. So what I've got is this muriatic acid right here, and I've got a face shield on, and I've got a set of gloves, which you can see the gloves there. So I'm just going to dip the Q-tip down in here and put that on, just kind of wipe it on here a little bit and go above the exhaust here a little bit, because it looks like it's a little scratched up there too. You can see it kind of bubbling there. That means it's working, pulling that aluminum off of the Nicosil coating that's on here. And I'm going to go on either side of the transfer. So there you go. Let's watch this thing kind of work for a few minutes and see if we can kind of see it going. So there's that squish band inside of there I was telling you about, way down inside along that edge. And what we're going to do is we're going to check the squish on this and see what it is without the base gasket. We can do that without the rings, and I'll show you how to do that next. Got the cylinder cleaned up fairly well. You can see down inside of there it's cleaner. It's not perfect, but next up is we are going to do some sanding on the inside of this, because I pulled out chunks of aluminum with the muriatic acid, and now it's just lightly scored. So I'm going to get in here and kind of buff that up a little bit, see if we can get that going. You can already see a difference there. It's really cleaning up nicely. So I'm going to keep working on this and see if we can get a little bit better. Wanted to show you real quick what that muriatic acid does to the aluminum transfer that's left in this cylinder, and you can see it's bubbly right there along the exhaust port, and so that's kind of cool. It's just eating that stuff right away there. So when I get done, hopefully this thing will be shiny just like it is here on the intake side. So see how that's nice and clean, and see how I still have some of this gray type, I don't know, with all the light I got in there, but you can see the bubbles there, all that off-colored stripes in there. That's hopefully going to be gone by the time I get done with this. So I'm going to keep on working on it and let you know how it goes. Alright guys, well, there's the intake side. You can see, or the transfer, I'm sorry. There's the transfer there. There's the some junk left in there. So the intake side, the other transfer. Oh, well, it's the same one. Either way, it doesn't matter. And then here is the exhaust side. And I'll try to put up maybe a side-by-side comparison of the two. There's very, very little left in there, and what's left I'm just going to leave in there because it's not even grabbing a fingernail. I had this feeler from earlier, and I was just rubbing it on the inside of there, and it's just smooth all the way across there. So I'm happy with how this turned out. This looks great. So I'm going to put this back together now and run the bolts up, just maybe 2 of them across there, and check squish. I'll show you how to do that.